Calm people are dangerous, not because they want control over others, but because they have learned to control themselves. And in today's world, that is rare. Most people react instantly. A small insult changes their mood, a message ruins their peace. One difficult moment, and their emotions take over completely. But emotionally intelligent people move differently. They pause, they observe, they think before reacting, and that calm presence creates something powerful. Because silence is often misunderstood as weakness, but Stoics understood something most people never learn. The calmer you become, the harder you are to control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Think about how different life becomes once you truly understand that. Most suffering comes from trying to control things outside yourself. Other people, their opinions, their behavior, their approval. But calm people stop chasing control over the external world. Instead, they master the internal one, and that changes everything. You can feel it immediately when someone has emotional discipline. They do not rush to defend themselves. They do not react emotionally to every criticism. They do not need constant validation. There is stability in them, and stability creates quiet power. Most people today are emotionally exhausted. Constant stimulation, constant comparison, constant emotional reactions. Social media has trained people to react instantly to everything. Someone disagrees with them, and suddenly it becomes war. Someone ignores them, and their mind creates anxiety. Someone succeeds, and they feel insecure. People are losing themselves emotionally every single day without realizing it. That is why calm energy feels so rare now, and rare things become powerful. Stoicism teaches that emotions themselves are not the enemy. The problem is becoming a slave to them, because emotions are temporary. But the consequences of emotional reactions can last for years. One impulsive decision can destroy a relationship. One angry moment can damage trust forever. One emotional reaction can ruin opportunities that took years to build. And intelligent people understand this deeply. That is why they slow down before reacting, not because they feel nothing, but because they understand the cost of emotional impulsiveness. Seneca once said, "He who angers you conquers you." That sentence is brutal because it reveals something uncomfortable. Every time someone controls your emotions, they control you. And most people hand over that control constantly. A stranger online changes their mood. A difficult conversation destroys their peace. A bad day becomes emotional chaos. They live emotionally dependent on external events. Stoics refused to live that way. They believed true freedom begins when your inner peace no longer depends on what happens outside you. Imagine two men facing disrespect. The first reacts immediately, raises his voice, becomes emotional, needs to prove himself. The second remains calm, composed, controlled. He chooses his response carefully. Now ask yourself honestly, which man appears stronger? Exactly. Calmness creates authority, not loudness. And this applies to every area of life: business, relationships, leadership, conflict. The people who maintain composure under pressure naturally command respect, because emotional control signals confidence, and confidence is silent. Weak people often need attention. Strong people need clarity. That is why emotionally intelligent people rarely explain themselves excessively. They understand something powerful. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every criticism deserves a response. Not every battle deserves energy. And honestly, this mindset changes your life, because most people waste enormous emotional energy fighting battles that never mattered, trying to win arguments online, trying to change people who refuse to change, trying to force respect from people who already decided not to give it. Stoicism teaches a different path. Protect your peace first. That does not mean becoming cold, it means becoming disciplined. There is a massive difference between emotional suppression and emotional mastery. Suppression hides emotions. Mastery understands them without becoming controlled by them. And that level of control creates something very rare in modern society: inner stability. Most people are emotionally reactive because they never learned how to observe themselves. They instantly believe every thought, every fear, every insecurity, every emotional impulse. But intelligent people create space between emotion and action. That space changes everything. Epictetus explained this perfectly. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Read that again. Most suffering is interpretation, not reality. Someone takes longer to reply, and the mind creates rejection. Someone looks serious, and the mind creates insecurity. Something difficult happens, and the mind immediately predicts disaster. People suffer more in imagination than in reality. Stoics trained themselves to question emotional assumptions before reacting to them. And honestly, that may be one of the most valuable skills a human being can develop today, because modern life profits from emotional instability. The more reactive people become, the easier they are to manipulate. Fear controls them, anger controls them, validation controls them, attention controls them. But calm people are different. They think independently, they respond intentionally, and they are much harder to manipulate emotionally. That is why calmness feels powerful, not because calm people dominate others, but because they are difficult to dominate themselves. And perhaps the most dangerous thing about calm people is that they are always observing. While emotional people react immediately, calm people study patterns, behavior, intentions, energy. They notice things others miss because their emotions are not constantly overwhelming their perception. Emotional noise blinds people. Calmness creates awareness. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to return to reason rather than emotional chaos. Not because he was emotionless, but because he understood leadership begins with self-mastery. And honestly, most people never master themselves. They spend years trying to control the world while remaining strangers to their own mind. That is why Stoicism still feels powerful thousands of years later, because human nature has not changed. People still struggle with insecurity, fear, anger, ego, anxiety, overthinking. The external world evolved, but the human mind still fights the same battles. And Stoicism offers something people desperately need today: psychological stability. Not fake positivity, not motivational hype. Real inner strength. The kind that remains steady during chaos. The kind that does not collapse under pressure. The kind that allows someone to remain calm while everyone else loses control. And perhaps that is the true meaning of power. Not dominance over others, but mastery over yourself. Because once you learn to control your emotions, people lose the ability to control you. And that changes your entire life. If this message resonated with you and you're searching for more calm, discipline, and inner strength in a chaotic world, subscribe to Stoic Wisdom. Every week, we explore timeless lessons from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Stoic philosophy to help you master your emotions, strengthen your mind, and find peace within yourself. Join us on this journey. And remember, the calmest person in the room is often the most powerful.